Clap your hands, give God some praise in this place. Amen, amen. God bless you. Thank you so much. Choir, you all can come down this morning. Amen. Thank you so much. God bless you. Amen, amen. I thank God for you. Amen. Salute God for all of you all who utilize your gifts every Sunday morning to give God the praise and honor and glory. Thank God for all our musicians on this morning. Come on, let's give God praise for them. Amen. Salute all of you on this morning. Thank God for the greatest pastoral leadership team this side of heaven. Come on, give God praise for the pastoral leadership team this morning. Thank God for all of our deacons, amen, all of our leaders who are in the house, our ushers, God bless you, amen. I want to invite your attention this morning to the book of Romans. And if you pray with me, I promise I won't preach long. And I'm going to let you out of here. Amen. We're standing to our feet. If you're able to stand, if you would please stand. Romans chapter 12. Romans 12. And I want to just read 2 verses out of Romans chapter 12, if that's all right. If you got to say amen. Amen. If you haven't got to say, please wait. Amen. I'll wait a moment. Amen. Romans 12. Amen. Thankful to God for all of our mothers. God bless you all. Heaven smile on you. Amen. Romans 12. Verse 1 says this, and I'm reading from the NIV version of this translation. It says, therefore, I urge you, brothers, in the view of God's mercy, to offer your bodies as a living sacrifice, or as living sacrifices, holy and pleasing. The King James Version says acceptable unto God. This is your spiritual act of worship. Verse 2 says, do not conform any longer to the pattern of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Then you will be able to test and approve what God's will is, his good, his pleasing, and perfect will is. As you take your seats on this Sunday morning, I want to talk about for just a few moments from the thought or the subject, are you a conformer or are you a transformer? Ask your neighbor, are you a conformer or are you a transformer? Beloved of God, I want to suggest to you and to myself that God is calling all of us to a higher level of living. God is calling us beyond the pews, beyond just the salvific experience, beyond just being saved. He's calling us beyond just that emotional moment where we give our lives to Jesus Christ. He's calling us beyond that moment where we walk down the aisles of anybody's church and sit in the chair, or give the preacher our hand and give God our hearts. God is calling us beyond just mere Christianity. He's calling us beyond just being mere bench warmers and seat fillers. He's calling us beyond that experience where we just come to church for that feel-good experience, where we just want the preacher to preach to us and make us feel good, but he really don't need to teach us anything. We want to move beyond that experience where we're just emotional about our Christian experience, but yet we have no knowledge of God therein. We want to get beyond that point where we just come to church just because mama came to church, and because grandmama came to church, and because granddaddy came to church. God is calling us beyond that emotional experience where we say all those cute and catchy phrases like, the Lord will make a way somehow, and if you take one step, he'll take 2 steps, and he won't put no more on you than you can bear. He wants to move us beyond just the emotional experience, and he's calling us to be
transformer. God is calling us beyond all of the normalcies of this world. He's calling us beyond our religious experiences. As a matter of fact, God is speaking to us that we must now move from just knowing about Him to actually operating in the knowledge of Him. God is speaking to us because, as Sister Brightwell said earlier, it's an emotional time for us as a church when every time we look up, God is calling one of our giants home. Every time we look up, God has called another one home. One of our heroes, the sheroes of the faith, has gone on to be with God. It's more than just a coincidence. God is speaking to us and telling us that the same God that they knew is the same God that we must come to know. Can I preach it here for just a moment? I feel like I have an obligation to tell you that it's not just enough for us to celebrate the Henry Shoemakes and the Ralph Ships and the Mother Brightwells and the Brother Collins and all those saints and the Mother Zacharys that have gone on to be with the Lord. It's not just enough for us to celebrate their lives, but we must now begin to know the God that they knew. You ain't got to say amen because I know I'm preaching in here. Yeah. We have to know the God that they knew, the God that brought them through a segregated South, the God that brought them through not always having everything that they want. Y'all ain't said it there. The God that brought them through sometimes raising children by themselves, the God that brought them through times of discrimination, and the God that brought them through times of heartache and pain, the God that brought them through times when the church didn't have no pastor and folks had to stand in the gap and pray for the church. A time when God brought them through some trials and tribulations and most of us quit. We must now get to know that same God beyond just a religious experience. Church, we must now have a personal, reverential encounter with that God for ourselves. It's not just enough for us to celebrate the legacy and talk about how Deacon Ship was so concerned about Christian education, but yet we won't get in our way and do what we need to do to become the educated church that He dreamed about. Can I preach it here? Yeah. I just feel this in my spirit. I'm sorry, it may not be the message you came for, but it's the one you get. It's not enough for us to celebrate the legacy and the life of the foundation that was laid of a Henry Shoemake who would always make sure that the church had what it needed, even if it meant he had to come out of his own pocket to give it. We've gotten past that, and now if everybody else ain't giving, I ain't giving. Y'all ain't saying that. They got to beg us and prime us and push us to support our own church. Y'all ain't saying that. The church that we come into every single Sunday, and the lights better be on, and the water better be running, and if it's in the summertime, the air conditions better be blowing. Can I preach to somebody in here? God is calling us to be transformers. Watch this. Paul says, I appeal to you, I beseech you, brethren, by the mercies of God, watch this, that you would present your bodies a living sacrifice, holy and acceptable unto God, which is the least that you can do. Can I preach it here? Watch this. I want to talk about a life that's worth living. I want to preach about a life that's worth living. Not just this mediocre stuff that we call life and we just hitting it and quitting it. But no, a life where we wake up in the morning and we know we have purpose. Where I get up in the morning and I know that God has an assignment for me on that day. And I may not be on the job that I want to be on, but whatever job I'm on, God has me in that job for a purpose. And it's somebody on that job that needs to hear about the God that I know. I feel like preaching here. We may not be be in the place that we desire to be in. May not be living in the neighborhood we want to be living in. May not be doing what we want to be doing right now. But we have to reach a place of understanding that God has us where we are on purpose. There's a purpose to where I am. I'm not just here just to be here. I'm not just on my job just to be there. I'm not just walking down the street just to walk down the street. I'm not just in the neighborhood that I'm in just to be in the neighborhood I'm in. No, God has somebody that He wants me to witness to. Watch this. He says, watch this. He's calling us. Number one, I'm going to do this over the next couple of weeks, so y'all got to bear with me. Watch this. He's calling us to worship. But it's not the worship that you